Hi, this is From Ideology to Unity. So I've noticed a sort of divide, perhaps even an ideological divide, so to speak, in the New Age community. And what I asked myself was, how do we bridge that divide or bring unity from that divide? Now, the distinction or the divide that I'm speaking of is some focus on the, how should I put this? The idea that one focus in terms of the light workers is this idea that, okay, we're ascending and that we're being assisted by extraterrestrials, and but some might be inclined to overemphasize the ways we're being helped and to underemphasize the role that we must have in this process. We're not going to be saved. That is a kind of almost victim mentality where a rescuer saves us from a oppressor or a persecutor, which is the drama triangle, and doesn't help us. It's more of the same old sort of exploitative dynamics, and it's basically the same dynamic as someone who keeps on getting relationships with abusive people, and maybe it's like the same dynamic there with a parent, but with a new person every time, like until maybe they learn to transcend that. But the other side of it is this. There's the opposite of this that I've noticed is this perspective of everything that they're just like, rather than there being allies out there to help us, this perspective that that they're primarily against us and we need to free ourselves from an oppressive matrix. And the idea that it's entirely like a prison planet or something, and you don't go through the light when you die and stuff like that because it's a trick. Okay, maybe I'm doing impression too much there. Anyway, but basically, that seems kind of negative. Well, I mean, it is. It's kind of low vibe, in my opinion. And it is kind of fear-mongering too. But there is something they get right, in my opinion. And what that is that our enlightenment, our ascension, is up to us, that we shouldn't just depend on everything being done for us by benign beings who are just going to save us. I mean, they may think that everything, the divine order, is a malign order, and the former group, so to speak, might view the divine order as a benign order. I mean, the truth is, the united cosmos is both and beyond. It's beyond that duality itself. So it's kind of both. In fact, Ra's message in the Law of One isn't purely service to others. It's actually a service to source, sort of unity-focused message, because they focus on, there's sixth density, and it's this love light sort of beyond duality sort of thing. And anyway, so that's one distinction I've noticed where it's an unnecessary divide, because you can focus on the way to resolve this, perhaps, is to focus on, we must save ourselves. We can't depend on benign extraterrestrials to save us. They are helping us. We can acknowledge that they're helping us and that they're all there, that they exist out there to help us, that some of them are. I mean, what counts as help? Some of them might want to help us towards liberation in a spiritual sense. But, some of them want to help us towards enslavement, if we choose that. which I don't recommend, but that's just me. That's the two. I mean, there's others who are just observing, I guess, or maybe giving useful information. But essentially, there needn't be an opposition between these two interpretations. Because it's true that there are negative forces influencing things. Will I say they rule us? I wouldn't say they rule us, but they've certainly influenced things for a long time, and there's been a mind control sort of thing. And maybe even draining some sort of life force by inciting fear and stuff. Yeah, that probably has occurred. Doesn't mean it's a reptilian prison planet. Not necessarily. It's not like an all or nothing thing. There's shades of grey in between. And why has Source allowed that to even be the case in the first place, that there are malign beings and like quote unquote elites who have been oppressing us for centuries, if not longer? You know, why has Source even allowed that? Because it's catalyst. Because it's aiding in our growth. Now, I saw a music video by, was it Team Fearless, I think they're called, on YouTube. And it's just about I think it's a butterfly in a cocoon. Not cocoon. I think so. Yeah, I can't remember exactly what it's called. It's trying to burst out. This guy helps it, cuts the thing so it can get out, right? Because it's struggling. And because of that, it just sort of can't fly. It's inflated. It's like, and its wings are so small, right? But if he hadn't done that, because we're actually, okay, so he doesn't do it the next time. So he looks at the next time and watches and just waits to see what happened. And I'm changing the story slightly. And in the struggle to break out, it brings the fluid into its wings, which open it up more and more until it opens up. So, and it comes out that way, and it has fully vibrant wings that look beautiful in the music video. And the point is that we're meant to have some sort of catalyst. And even for us on Service Others Path, even the existence of quote unquote Orions or whatever is actually for our benefit if we use it as catalyst for service to others. Now, we could use that for catalyst in the negative direction, but that's up to us in terms of how we respond. Because you could get resentful about difficulties and take it out on others, or you could transmute it into love and light and let go of it no longer serves, you know. And give, receive with others, you know. That's when you're giving to others, but enjoying receiving the fruits of the joy of doing so. And also that they are doing that with you as well. So it's like a win-win of people equally exchanging with each other. Pardon me. Yeah. And so I feel like we can learn from those who might have a negative, so to speak, perspective on the ascension situation. And we can learn from those who have a positive perspective on it. What is that negative and positive either? Because both of them want us to ascend, unless, of course, some of them might be putting a negative fearmonger and messes out of there deliberately, but others might just go along with that because they actually they buy into that. But in any case, it's up to us, but it's not like some sort of grimdark Lovecraftian situation we've got here. No. But it's not like bunnies and rainbows necessarily either. What we experience and how we respond is kind of up to us. So whether we get bunnies and rainbows or something a bit more grim, it's kind of up to us. So reality isn't like this black and white sort of thing, which we clearly simplify, let some do. Basically, what I'm saying is, and this is just an example, there are other disagreements perhaps, or difference in perspective in the spiritual community, not just in, as well as in like politics, right? You see it in politics, you got all these divides, but people can get divided in the spiritual community. And I feel like we don't have to allow ourselves to get divided in the spiritual community. We can find a way to bridge that divide. And I haven't always. Yeah, I came to this after considering. I came across a more David Icke style perspective, um, which was very negative about the situation we're in. Still saying, oh, that we could escape the matrix, or, you know, get to source and not be tricked by the false soul traps or whatever. But like, and they say don't go through to the light or whatever. I think that's fear mongering, so I don't buy into that. But I was I had an internal reaction to it that wasn't accepting of that perspective. It was seeing that perspective as a problem. And I had some internal inner work to do to sort of process that. And from that, I've kind of realized that, yeah, we don't need to reject it, but we can learn from it and bridge that divide. After all, from ideology to unity, from ego to love or whatever. So, yeah, hopefully you found it interesting, and bye for now.